accident, you need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate. Because every accident has a ripple effect. It affects your time, your health, your ability to make money, everything. That's where the advocates can help. Thanks to our decades of experience, we know what your case is worth, and we'll fight to get you every penny you deserve. Consultations are simple and always free, because you're not just a client to us, you're a person, and you deserve the best help you can get. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show, live on your YouTube machine. Good morning to you. As always, we're presented by The Advocates at theadvocates.com. Big event next Monday, 1 to 7 in the Advocates Murray, Utah office right here in Salt Lake City. Make sure you get to redcrossblood.org. Trust me, it's in there somewhere. redcrossblood.org. Use the sponsor code ADVOCATESSLC. Donate blood next Monday. It's such a good cause. Every 2 seconds, somebody needs blood or plasma in this country. Don't hesitate. Don't wait. Your donation is really important. This is what I love about the Advocates. I tell you every day, they work in the community. Theadvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business, where you never pay a consultation fee. In fact, you never reach into your pocket to scratch a check for the Advocates, because you don't pay the Advocates unless and until they win your case. Chat with them live online at theadvocates.com. A very busy day for you. BYU quarterback Jake Retzloff coming up at 7:30 right here on the show. What is that, about 90 minutes from now? We'll get the latest on BYU basketball with Jake, who is a big basketball fan, but there also is that little quarterback thing in spring football going on. But a pretty interesting story developing in the SEC with Texas and Oklahoma leaving and the Big 12 twisting in the wind. I thought it was very interesting yesterday. Sources indicating to us that one of the reasons that the Big 12 has struggled so much, and I don't think this is a secret, this has been well written, but one of the reasons the Big 12 struggled so much is they did not have a marquee program, which, when you consider the scope and the reach and the size of Texas football, that's a bit of a shocking characterization. But isn't that very true? We now know that Greg Sankey has for weeks been touting the fact that the SEC has accounted for more than 40% of the college football playoff participants, and the Big 12 has had 2 teams in the college football playoff. And Texas's struggle, I don't think you can look at it any other way now. With the resurgence of Texas, and yes, I know many of you are upset that, in fact, Texas is back. But with Texas returning to prominence in college football, now heading to the SEC, you can't get away from the fact that during these negotiations for the Big Ten and the SEC, that Texas's lack of appearances in the college football postseason has undeniably now damaged the Big 12. Left the Big 12, and the ACC is in the exact same position, but they are now under the thumb of the SEC and the Big Ten. There's no way to spin that. The SEC and the Big Ten are going to make substantially more money and have substantially more influence on the future and the direction of college football, and, in fact, who wins the national championship of college football, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But it is very difficult to deny now that Texas's lack of appearances in the college football postseason, whether it be the BCS at post-Mac Brown, the college football playoff up until this past season, Jake, I think it's hard to argue that Texas has not damaged the Big 12.
Absolutely. And I think the really tough conundrum for the Big 12 right now is, like, obviously everyone wants to say, hey, you guys just lost Texas and Oklahoma. But at the same time, when Texas and Oklahoma were in your conference, it wasn't like they were lighting up the college football playoff or the postseason. in college football. And so it used to be, hey, yeah, sure, the Big 12's got Texas, they got Oklahoma, they've got the one-off, TCU team every once in a while. But it's not like the Big 12 was dominating. It's not like they were getting the lion's share of appearances, to say the least. And I think when we look at the changing landscape in college football, and you look at the fact that, in this new expanded format, the SEC's pulling in 58% of total revenue. That's the SEC in the Big Ten. That's wild to me, because you're putting these two conferences in a position to leave conferences like the Big 12 behind. And the real problem is the Big 12 doesn't, at least in football, have a way to get back. You're going to have to take programs that typically haven't been in the college football playoff, and you're going to have to find a way to start participating at a higher level. You're going to have to get in more often. And I'm not quite sure what that looks like for the Big 12, because again, and it's no hate for any individual program in the Big 12, but you look at the different situations in the Big 12 right now, and it's not like there's one where you're like, hey, yeah, they're definitely going to be a threat for the college football playoff. I mean, the ACC, as an example, only really has Florida State. I mean, if Clemson next year pops off, I guess that's not that surprising. But I just look at both of these conferences, and in the Big 12 specifically, there's not a lot of momentum to get into the college football playoff right now. Like, you're going to need, it'd be nice if Texas Tech woke up a little bit under Joey. It would be nice if Oklahoma State was even competitive against Texas in the Big 12 championship game, which they weren't. You showed how you showed your class in that game. And TCU, I don't know what TCU is going to be. So then I look at the teams that are coming into the conference, and I say, okay, well, those teams aren't exactly lighting the world on fire either. So I don't know how the Big 12, gets back into the conversation, gets back into a strong place, unless one of these football programs just absolutely turns it around. Because ultimately, we all know what's going to happen. The SEC and the Big Ten are going to continue to dominate the spots. And because of that, they're going to continue to dominate the conversation. And we haven't even gotten into the God tier, totally changing the format conversation.
Yeah, I don't think that matters. I think what you're looking at is a situation where the Big 12 and the ACC now are forever damaged. There's no way to recover from the money that they're not going to make. And it's why I continue to say you've got to beat the drum to expand the college basketball money pot somehow. And if that is the NCAA tournament, if that is this midseason NIL thing that they're trying to put together, I don't know how you go about doing that, but you can't allow the SEC and the Big Ten to just run away with your booty. Like, that's what you're doing here. You're giving them, as Ross Dellinger first reported yesterday, your presidents in the Big 12 and the ACC voted to go along with this revenue structure, which I think they had no choice but to do that. But if you're the Big 12, if Texas had not gone what felt like 100 years without winning a Big 12 championship, if Texas had not gone through the Tom Herman era, if Texas had not been, frankly, a pretty shitty football program for the better part of a decade, you're probably in a much better position. You're probably making more money. I think we're in this place now where it's hard to argue that winning on the field is what Greg Sankey is standing on top of. Mm-hmm. And he is saying, we've made more money than you. We deserve to make more money than you. And I think it is a really difficult place for the Big 12 and the ACC. And then I look at these comments from North Carolina and Bubba Cunningham, the athletic director at North Carolina. And I asked myself, is Florida State truly the tipping point in the ACC, or is it North Carolina? When Bubba Cunningham says, I also think we have to look at what's in the best interest of the university today and going forward, and I think we can do both. That's a big tip of the cap to maybe we should get the F out of here, right? And you look at, don't go past what Bubba Cunningham said here in the last sentence, which is maybe if we can get more into the ACC network, which is Latin for ESPN, support the ACC network, which is again, ESPN drive subscribers, get more digital content, then we can have direct-to-consumer relationships. So what is Bubba Cunningham saying there? Yeah, we want to leave the ACC, but we're in business with ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is a very, very interesting paradox that you have right now for the Big 12 and the ACC. If you have membership, and I don't think there's anybody looking to get out of the Big 12, I truly do not. But I think if you have membership in the ACC, Florida State, North Carolina, Miami certainly has to be in that conversation. Who the hell knows what NC State's trying to do or what they're thinking about? But you have probably half a dozen brands in the ACC that would walk out the door today if they could.
Yeah, and I think the hard part is that, you know, the further and further away the SEC and the Big Ten get with revenue, the more and more incentivized, you know, schools like UNC are going to be to find their way into a better situation. And so, you know, I appreciate Bubba Cunningham's tact there with what he said. I mean, he could have just come out and said, hey, like, we need to make more money. We're going to try and do that through ESPN. But at least he did it tactfully, right? He appreciates the value of relationships. And that's what I think, you know, at least in the ACC, that's the other interesting angle when you talk about schools getting into better situations. Like, we've talked so much about how Florida State doesn't exactly have a great reputation for managing relationships and representing their conference well. So when you look at schools like UNC going to the Big Ten, let's say, as an example, at some point, who knows if that's going to happen. But if that were to happen, they would be more welcome because of stuff like this. They understand how to play the game. So I just think we're in this time where, again, at some point we're going to have to face the idea and the conundrum of what do we do with the schools that have major brand power, you know, like the UNCs of the world, and what do we do with the folks who don't have as much? Because I think that's, you know, we're already seeing that in the top rank, but we're going to see that bleed down through the rest of these conferences, through the bottom half. And I think that's a scary proposition when you've got folks like Greg Byrne at Alabama saying, hey, dude, like, we're money's not endless. We'll cut sports if we have to. Like, that's a wild thing to say when you're at Alabama. You're not at, you know, Vanderbilt. You're not at, you know, whatever smaller time school you want to point to. So I just think that this is all cool if you want to make more money, right? If you want to say, hey, we've got 40% participation rate in the college football playoff in its existence. Okay, cool. Great. But what do you do about everybody else? Because I don't think you can just hang them out to dry. You can't do that.
Yeah, and I also think that North Carolina is what props up the ACC. I will forever say that I think that Florida State is a pretty mediocre football program. And I think, you know, post Bobby Bowden, all they've been is a pretty mediocre football program. And Leonard Hamilton's done nice things. North Carolina is the brand. North Carolina is the actual heartbeat of Tobacco Road. Like, you look at what the ACC is. The ACC is Tobacco Road. That now the fellas down there in Tallahassee want to argue about that. Well, you can argue all day, and you can cry until the roosters come home. But I'm telling you right now, in my opinion, the heartbeat of the ACC is North Carolina. And if you lose North Carolina, there is no path to survival. If you lose North Carolina, that league comes to an end, whether Florida State's there or not. You lose North Carolina, you're probably going to lose Duke. You're probably going to lose North Carolina State, I would think, right? You don't have a league without North Carolina.
Well, and I think we've seen this story before, right? I mean, obviously, you know, USC leaves the Pac-12 in the way they did, and then UCLA goes with them, and then Colorado goes, and all of a sudden here we are, right? And I think it's that same situation for the ACC. You're totally right. Like, if UNC goes, you know Duke's definitely going to go. And at that point, you're just talking about how you want to pack up the van and leave, because that's the position you put people in, right? We're no longer in a position of like hoping that we're going to get revenue enough to continue our athletic programs. These schools now have to say, no, we're not going to hope. We're going to take actions into our own hands, and we're going to do what we need to do. But in the ACC, again, the conundrum is, you know, and I think this is why, you know, Cunningham's talking so much about the ACC network, ESPN. How do we get out of the grant of rights, right? Like, if we're going to leave a conference, if we're going to talk about making that kind of change, what does that look like? Because we signed this agreement, and Florida State's showing us there's no getting out of that agreement. So ESPN truly is the only path to making a change, whether that is the Big Ten or whatever it winds up being. And that in the ACC, I think, is what is so difficult when you're sitting there looking at, these two conferences making so much more money than you're about to make.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of times we make this more complicated than it has to be. And I just think that you look at the role that ESPN has played and will play. And I think these meetings this week where, I think it's pretty clear that we're going to get finality in this college football playoff revenue model. I think ESPN's extension that starts in 2026 is going to get finalized. I think that it's pretty clear now that, at least from what we're told, the SEC and the Big Ten will not get automatic bye weeks handed to them, which I think was the bargaining chip. And we talked about that on the show. We had heard that was going to be a bargaining chip for the Big 12 and the ACC. And I think, really what the SEC and the Big Ten there is they threw those two conferences a bone that they knew they didn't even – I don't believe the SEC and the Big Ten ever thought they could get that. I think they threw out the automatic buys just so that they could say, well, look, we acquiesced. We negotiated. We didn't get everything we wanted. They got everything they wanted. They wanted full financial control of the college football playoff, and they wanted full access control to the college football playoff, which is exactly what they got, because access is how you make money. And if you don't have access to the college football playoff, which I think most teams in this country do not, and I know, hey, Monty, they expanded to 16. That's great. Do you really think that the scheduling advantage that the SEC and the Big Ten are going to have in the regular season why do you think this conversation about 9 conference games is so significant? Because it limits access to others to the college football playoff. I don't know what ultimately happens with the G5. And again, this comes back around to this Notre Dame conversation. Notre Dame's got a guaranteed between 2 and 5%, 2 and 5% revenue share automatically. Doesn't matter what happens to their football season. They could go winless. They're getting their 2 to 5% every year. Like, that's called controlling access.
Yeah, and I think that goes right up the alley of either winning or having a strong brand, right? Because Notre Dame, obviously, we've talked so much about how Notre Dame isn't in the college football playoff every single year, right? Obviously, they're not Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan. They're not those juggernauts, but what they are. Unequivocally is one of the strongest brands in college football. And every single time they're on TV, they're drawing a huge audience, which is why they're getting that type of leverage play. And that's why I say, I just think, it's Notre Dame in that way is fortunate that they have the heritage they have, and they have the brand, and they've worked so hard to cultivate that and continue the USC rivalry and all that good stuff. But again, I every time we talk about this, I think about, when the college football playoff started in 2015, I don't think anybody was really thinking about, hey, what happens 10 years from now when we know who's dominated this thing, right? All we were focused on is, hey, we need a new model. We're tired of computers deciding who does what. That's all we were focused on. And now it's like, hey, okay, these two conferences have dominated and Notre Dame's a good brand, so the three of them are going to get in, and everybody else is just kind of chilling.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. It's amazing how that works.
So I go back to the original point of, what if Texas hadn't gone 17 years between appearances in championship games or in championship structures, right? What if, because you think back to Mac Brown and you think back to what was that, 2005. You fell off the map after that. And were you relevant at times? But you look at the struggles of the Texas football program under Charlie Strong, under Tom Herman. It was barren.
Because it's garbage.
In Tom Herman's 5 years, while not horrendous, and everybody always points to the fact that Tom Herman went 4-0 in bowl games. Who cares? Like I look at his best year was 2018 at 10-4. And you really weren't that close. You really weren't that close. And Charlie Strong was an absolute disaster. There's no way around that. And really, at the end of the day, at probably the last, I don't know, 4 years of Mac Brown, you weren't really relevant. You weren't. And you go past, I don't know what they went to the BCS championship game, I guess, in Mac's last best year, that 13-1 year. That, I mean, even if you stretch it to 2009, you're still talking about 13 years of just not being relevant.
Yes.
Not winning conference championships, not compete. How much money did the Big 12 lose? Not having Texas as a perennial contender.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is a lot. I think it is significant.
Yeah, and I think it's more money than you can gain back by being a great basketball conference now. I mean, that's just too much.
And yet, you let Texas control the conference. You let Texas have an inordinate amount of sway and influence. You let Texas then just walk out the door to the SEC, which, hey, maybe you had no choice, right? Your grant of rights was up. I totally get it. But did you really fight for that? And again, I'll go to Mike Gundy. This is why Mike Gundy, being such a mediocre, not championship caliber football coach, you don't have a big brand in this conference. What is the football brand in the Big 12 right now?
I mean, Utah, but that's it.
Utah is the best football program in the conference. So not only did Texas not win, when they finally got back, now they're leaving. That's the amazing part of it. And we want to sit here and I think we want to laud over it. It truly is Oklahoma State. It is absolutely now for this conference, because every year and with expansion and realignment, it gets tougher and tougher to reach back in time.
Yeah.
Tough. Like you look at this Trev Alberts move, leaving Nebraska. Would Trev Alberts have ever left Nebraska if Nebraska had stayed in the Big 8, Big 12? If in 2011 they hadn't made that just horrendous decision to chase the bag of money and go to the Big 10. And I also look at the brand that Nebraska was. Nebraska is irrelevant. Nebraska is invisible. Trev Alberts left Nebraska to go to Texas A&M yesterday. Just walked out the door. Trev Alberts is Nebraska football, which is problematic in its own.
Right.
And I actually love Trev. I've worked with him a lot in TV. But Trev there was no, in his prime as a football player, there was no greater Nebraska Cornhusker than Trev Alberts. That guy was an absolute machine. And now you're going to hire your fifth athletic director since 2011? That's unbelievable.
And again, going to A&M, not that there's probably a real clean-cut logical move for a guy like Trev after Nebraska, as you point out. Like, obviously, there's history there, but I'm telling you, you're going to, as an athletic director and an administrator, you need to jump on the train of a program that at least has the opportunity. And I'm not saying that if Nebraska was an undefeated, 12-0 team or whatever, that they wouldn't be in there, because they would be in there, right? But how far away are you from that at Nebraska, even with the current situation? So then you look at A&M and you're like, well, A&M's been pretty tumultuous. A&M has been, the Jimbo situation was pretty brutal. But at least at A&M, you can say, hey, if we win, we're going to climb very quickly. And I'm going to guess that Trev feels like he can turn that around a little bit.
Yeah, I think I don't know what it is. You can't tell me it's strictly a money thing. I just think it is. Again, it's this indictment on realignment, and I think it is the tragedy that ultimately, at the end of the day, if the Big 12 goes away at some point, you're going to point to these decisions where, because like Missouri, irrelevant in the SEC, irrelevant, invisible in the SEC.
But at least for them, they're making money, right?
Just doesn't matter.
Like,
you're not competing for national championships. You're not Like, I look at these teams that wound up leaving the Big 12, and I don't know that the grass is always greener. Texas, the grass is going to be greener. I have no idea what the future at Oklahoma football is. I have no idea, because it would have been unthinkable 10 years ago to think Nebraska in 10 years won't have competed for anything in college football, and they haven't. Is there any surefire bet or belief that Venables is going to be able to compete at the top of the SEC? I mean, I would like to think so. It's OU. But I have no doubt Texas can, because Texas is that indelible brand. They are that behemoth.
Yes.
So I don't know. Anyway, all of that to say, I feel like Texas has done, over the last decade, has done real damage to the Big 12.
There's no question about that. And I think that question of, what does the grass is greener on the other side of the fence mean to a school now? Is it, because it used to be, in my opinion, hey, the grass is greener used to mean, hey, we're going to get into a situation where we feel like we can win at a little bit higher of a rate. Like, given the conference dynamics or in Nebraska's case, you just, went and got the bag. So for Missouri, hey, yeah, you're not relevant. You're nobody in the SEC. And don't talk to me about this past season. You've been nobody in the SEC. And that's fine. But you are making money. So for athletic departments and universities, is grass is greener just simply survival? Hey, let's jump on the train. Let's get into the Big Ten or the SEC. Even if we win absolutely nothing, we're more than happy to do that, because at least then we're getting paid and we can continue to have football games in our stadium. Like, that's what I think the question is right now.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what this iteration of the Big 12 ends up being, because I think you have a lot of questions around guys like Joey McGuire at Texas Tech.
Mm-hmm.
That should be the preeminent football brand in the conference. It's not close.
Facts.
It's not close. TCU, huge backslide last year. I don't know. Can Sonny rebuild to what he did 2 years ago with the run to the playoff? And I don't know. I think there's not a lot of confidence. And I look at the attrition of talent. Again, Will Howard at K-State. It's a huge loss for the conference. And Texas on the way out, Oklahoma on the way out. You look at Deion coming into the conference. Obviously, that's a big boost. He needs to win. They need the Big 12. From a branding perspective, it would really help the Big 12 if Colorado found its way to 7-8 wins.
Yeah.
That would be unbelievable. Because I do think in this coming season, it's going to be hard for anybody in this conference to beat Utah. I think Utah, the film that's coming out of spring ball with Brant Keithy, looks like a cat that hasn't played football in a year. He looks strong. He looks fast. Talking to people that have seen him, he looks really, really good. Really, really good. If him and Cam's running all over the place in spring ball, if Brant Keithy and Cam Rising are healthy, they're gonna dominate this conference. Not win the conference, dominate the conference.
Yeah, they're pretty much unstoppable when they're healthy.
It's not going to be. It is for this 1 year. Now, you're going to have to replace Cam. You're going to have to replace Brant. You're going to have a lot of attrition. This year, this coming season, Utah should dominate this league. I would be disappointed in Utah football if they did not win the conference. It would be, if Utah doesn't go to the college football playoff this year, I would be disappointed.
100%.
That there's no other place to go.
Well, and to your point, I mean, the Big 12 needs Utah in the college football playoff. Like, now more than they've ever needed somebody to get it. 100%.
And you're talking about a guy in Cam Rising who's done nothing but defend himself for a year. You want to talk about guys who got something to prove. That's Cam Rising.
Yeah.
He's got a lot to prove. And we'll see. We'll see. We can guess, we can surmise, we can wonder. But I don't think it's even in question now that this conference, the Big 12, lacks a brand. It lacks brand power. It lacks that go-to program. And I think that the real difficult part, if you're a Kansas fan, K-State, TCU, Texas Tech, Baylor, you better win your home games. And Baylor Baylor is not easy to beat in Waco. I think we've seen that. But why not? I still can't believe you didn't fire Dave Aranda. I can't believe it. You're a basketball school now. You're a basketball school, period. That's it. Because you're not a football school at all. And it's surprising, shocking, whatever the words you want to use are. All right, let's get to the comment section. As always, presented by our friends at Prize Picks. PrizePicks.com. Make sure you download the app. Did not win last night. Pushed. I have never had a situation where I pushed. 2 out of my 3 selections last night pushed. So I didn't lose. I just didn't win.
Right.
Which I'm appreciative of. But today's a big day on the Prize Picks scene.
Yes.
We've got the PGA Championship teeing off today at Sawgrass. That's always a big one. We've got the Big 12 tournament. How about the Big 12 tournament today? You want to talk about some Big 12 tournament? BYU, even though they're playing at 10 in the morning, and if anybody wants to explain that shit to me, I would appreciate it. How did they win yesterday and BYU winds up playing again at 10 a.m., wow. First of all, what the hell happened to Kansas? Did you guys see what Kansas shot from 3 last night?
Dude.
Kansas shot from 3 last night, 15%. They were 3 of 20.
It's garbage.
What are we doing?
They lost.
Ow.
Kansas is out of the Big 12 tournament, which is amazing to me. You've got BYU and Texas Tech coming up at 10:30 on ESPN2. That's a huge game for BYU. That is, they're favored by 2.5. The total is only 153. I'm a little worried that BYU is so reliant on the 3-point shot. I mean, that's how they ran out to that lead yesterday. But Houston and TCU at 1. You're telling me Cincinnati and Baylor is a better game at 7:30 on ESPN2 than BYU and Texas Tech?
Yeah, I'm not really sure how that pans.
Yeah,
I'm
don't.
not sure why BYU. And again, I'm not even a huge BYU fan, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to tell you, hey, BYU and that audience should probably be in prime time.
But what I don't understand is, for a TV-driven conference like the Big 12, how are you not having Texas Tech and BYU, Houston and TCU at least close to prime time? Move the Cincinnati Baylor game to 10:30 and just push the whole stack down, because number 7 Iowa State is playing at 5:00. It's a bit of a conundrum. Now that's 7. Obviously, that's 7:00 Eastern, right? It's a little surprising the way that shook out. But so Prize Picks, you can absolutely get BYU basketball and Prize Picks. You can get Big 12 basketball and Prize Picks.
If you're gonna do BYU basketball and Prize Picks, you need to be careful with points. If you're just gonna go points, you need to be really careful with that, because watching that game yesterday, BYU tends to get run down the court in transition, right? When they're, as you said, they rely on 3 ball. That leads to a lot of transition points for the other team, and BYU winds up only playing half court basketball. So I would just be a little careful. But I do think that college basketball and the Big 12 tournament is a lot of fun. There's no doubt about it.
I would also point out tonight in the NBA, there's today is Pie Day. For all you dickheads out there, like, I got to give me a pizza for lunch.
Oh, hey, man. Hey, Monty.
Don't. 3.14. James Harden has to score 3.14 points on Prize Picks.
James Larden.
So Harden, who's actually playing really well. Kawhi Leonard's out, by the way. I think you have to go with that. And Kevin Durant, how about the Suns at Boston today?
Let's go.
Huge game. Suns in Boston, TNT, 7:00. That's a huge game. I got to take Kevin Durant more than 39.5 points. And I'm probably going to, and I don't want to be sensational, guys. Like, that I don't like being over the top and saying just outrageous things.
Right.
But in the 3-pointers made category, Devin Booker is at 2.5 3-pointers made on a demon. I'm going to have to go more on that. And if he doesn't cash that, I'll just drive a roofing nail through my ball sack. Like,
okay,
I feel like that is the honest, unemotional answer for what I have to deal with on Prize Picks. Not sensational, not trying to be bombastic or anything. Like, that's a normal response, right? Roofing nail, right?
Yeah, roofing nail. Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like that is normal, completely normal.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it just is what it is. Apparently, you can download the Prize Picks app, use promo code Monty, 100% deposit matching, hook it up today.
Yeah.
And then, apparently Lil Jizzy is doing something that, bro, you're becoming that guy in here now. You're becoming that guy in here. Let's go back to the top and see.
Back to the top.
Who's first in? Sorry, we have over 600 comments already. And Little Jizzy's first one in
There you
today.
go. See, he showed up.
He says King Jizzy. Lamont Tucker.
Oh, what's up?
Dude, what are you going to do with Juwan Howard? Did you guys see they got blitzed again?
Yeah.
The worst season. I think it's the worst season in the history of Michigan football. I don't think there's any, or Michigan basketball. I think it is the worst season in the history of Michigan basketball. And they're talking about not firing him. Ward Manuel wants to get back to, we need to get back to Ann Arbor and meet as a group and talk. Juwan Howard gets run out of the Big Ten tournament. The season comes to an end. What are they, 8-24 or something like that? Juwan Howard sits up on the dais at a table in front of the media. It's like, we need to get back home and talk about our wants, but also our needs as a basketball program. Motherfucker, you need a new basketball coach. Your need is to get the hell out of Ann Arbor because you're terrible. You're terrible. You're terrible. Terrible.
Pack everything up. We're out of here.
As a Michigan fan, we cheated. Time to clean house. Hey, there you go.
Okay, see, I can appreciate that accountability.
There you go. The Pacing Cougar fan. The show's headlines are becoming more and more the sky is falling, Chicken Little rantings.
Okay, you're here.
Wait. So you're going to say that it's the sky is falling because we're talking about how Texas damaged the Big 12. When the SEC and Greg Skanky, which is the proper pronunciation of Sankey,
right,
is out here talking about how they've represented 40% of the participants in the college football playoff. And you're telling me that Texas being irrelevant, almost invisible until the last year, wasn't at all damaging to the Big 12. No, that's clickbait. That's clickbait. It's clickbait.
Yeah, I would love to know, what other headlines you're talking about. I mean, our headline yesterday was, the SEC and the Big Ten got paid. Okay. How's that? The sky is falling. That's what happened.
That's what happened.
They're getting 58% of the revenue in the next model. Like, come on.
Yeah. Eric Wasikowski, Monty going after another blue blood today. Just upset Utah. Lone one and never will be. So now I'm a Utah fan. I'm a Notre Dame fan. Especially mediocre Notre Dame. I believe we've sat on this show every day, and I've told you mediocre's the word that I use to describe Notre Dame.
You have many times.
Can't count to 11 against Ohio State. That's not the stuff of champions.
Notre Dame, our mother.
So thanks for the comment. Tanner Plummer, good morning. Speaking of Texas, did anyone see them lose to K-State yesterday? It was a beautiful sight. This is a hellacious tournament to get through. You win the Big 12 basketball tournament, bro. Tipping my cat too, because this is impossible.
Yeah, I mean, look at Baylor's run recently in the NCAA tournament. I mean, you come out of the Big 12 and you're good to go.
Yeah, Moth Prof, that's exactly right. If every team that left the Big 12 went back to the Big 12, it would be an awesome conference. Can you even fathom that? Just Texas, Oklahoma, Nebraska. Because again, at Missouri, Texas A&M, they suck too. But imagine if you had Oklahoma, Texas, Nebraska, right? I mean, it's remarkable to me. And you add Missouri basketball into a conference already. that's a great basketball conference. Missouri football had 1 year. Congratulations. Welcome back to Irrelevance, right? Like, I'm only saying that because I see Dakota Tubbs this year. KU getting smacked was the highlight of my night.
Wow.
15% from three KU shot. 15% from three, which is wild. Let's see. Who else? Oh, James is here. Your boy.
Well.
Ask the fan base who didn't go to a bowl game if they miss going to bowl games. I was at the Texas Bowl. It was a blast.
Monty.
Getting to see the A&M band at halftime was cool. Okay.
What? No food comment? No food evaluation?
Nothing to.
No hot dog talk?
Nothing. I'm trying to find out why everybody's pissed at Little Jizzy, and I can't figure it out. James also says Okie Light has only gone to a bowl 17 years in a row. Who cares? Who cares? Trigger Monty. Who cares? Texas went to bowl games.
Dude, nobody cares about your mediocre Pop-Tart Bowl appearance, dude.
Are you serious right now?
Football playoff appearances, money and revenue generating activities.
I'm not reading the rest of this comment because it's embarrassing. You really think that Mike Gundy has led one of the best football conference or programs in the country?
I'm a man.
You think Oklahoma State has been what's right with the Big 12? No, go ahead. I'm waiting for an answer. Are you out of your mind? Are you out of your Oklahoma State? What is relevance anymore? I guess going to a bowl game is relevant every year. I guess that's what it is.
Yeah, I thought being in the college football playoff conversation was relevance.
I guess that's what it is.
Like,
we're just, we are, I mean, my God.
We're happy to be 10 wins, get smacked by Texas, and go to our low-end bowl game.
Like, I genuinely want to understand this. Let's have this conversation.
Yeah.
What is relevant in college football? Because Greg Sankey just stood up there and said we put 40% of the teams in the college football playoff. And he ain't wrong.
I'm for real.
Are you Alabama? Are you Georgia? No, you're not. No, you're not. You're not in the hey, here's the truth. Are you Notre Dame? No, you're not. I got news for you. Oklahoma State and with all, Dakota Tubbs, with all due respect to Missouri, like, you're not relevant. When is the last time anybody not named Ohio State, anybody not named fucking Cheaterville, Michigan, Texas this year finally? Is this not the essence of the conversation? You're not Saban. You're not Kirby. You're not even Dabo at Clemson. And you're trying to make the argument that, oh man, 17 straight bowl games. Who cares? It doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter. BYU is the quintessential example of this. What do you remember the South Beach Bowl for? Not the fucking game. You remember it for the fight they got into. Is BYU football nationally relevant? Yeah, because they put people on TV. Do they win big games? They don't. Not lately. Why do you think Kalani Sitake's in jeopardy of losing his job if they don't have a significantly better season? Because they're not relevant. They're just not. And we can sit here and we can try to say, oh, well, my team and your team and this team and that team. You're only relevant if you're competing for the highest level of college football.
Facts.
Why is the Pac-12 not here? Why is Oregon, Washington, USC, and UCLA? Why are they all in the Big Ten? Because they win games and they make money. Washington is more relevant than Oklahoma State.
Facts.
How are you going to argue that? They're more relevant than you. USC is more relevant than you. Oregon football, who I will die on the hill, and I apparently am the only one who thinks that Oregon football is, I think they operate like a blue blood. They haven't won shit, but they operate like a blue blood.
Mm-hmm.
And they're more relevant than Oak State, the mighty Mike Gundy. Go comb his mullet. I don't care. He's not relevant. He doesn't win. He's terrified of playing Oklahoma. How are you glad that you don't have to play Oklahoma anymore? Don't know. We joke about it, but I'm asking you seriously. You're telling me that Mike Gundy wants to play Oklahoma every year?
No way.
Not a chance in the world. Does he want to play Oklahoma every year? Get out of here.
By the way, what happened to the walkout last year? What happened to the program was burning to the ground? And you're sitting here dying on the hill for Mike Gundy? Come on now.
It is amazing to me that we really have to explain stuff like the Oregon argument we always get into in the comments section. And I'm happy to say it. Oregon hasn't won a thing. And they're far more relevant than 99% of the college football teams in this country.
Because they actually were playing in games that would have had them go to the college football playoff if they've won them.
And again, I just come back and say, who was the first call Alabama made? Well, they called Mike Gundy. No, they didn't. They called the guy in Eugene and wanted him to come and be the head coach.
Yeah.
Who did they ultimately hire? Well, they hired Mike Gundy, Monty. Yeah, actually they didn't. They hired Kalen DeBoer.
Oh. Well, and then did Washington go and hire Mike? Because it's Mike Gundy.
We've got to stop storytelling about our heart, your fandom. Mike Gundy is a good, not great coach.
Stay hard.
Is he successful? Yes. Has he won? No, he has not. He's not an elite coach. Stop. It's not close. James Wood, a member for 1 month on the show.
James Wood.
Thank you. I love you. Some of your film work is amazing.
Wow.
Oak State is Wisconsin at best. I would agree with that.
Well, they've been more relevant than Wisconsin's been lately.
Of late, but
yeah.
Luke, let's not storytell.
Let's see what they got.
Let's not storytell. What did Wisconsin do last year? Wisconsin was 5-4 in conference, 7-6 overall in the first year of a new head coach.
That's better. No question about it. It's definitely better.
And I would think that Wisconsin would now the divisions are gone, but Wisconsin will be better than Iowa this year, certainly, which would have been their division rival. Right. James BYU has been to a bowl game almost every year since 2005. I don't think they're relevant. See how easy it is to admit it? No.
Damn,
Robert
bro.
Fowler. Damn, I'm going to make some popcorn for breakfast and enjoy all the fighting in the comments section. We've been on one. Harry Austin. Good morning, Harry. What has Oregon won? Hint the same as Oak State. And yet,
no, actually, that's bullshit. That's not true. Oregon's been to the college football playoff. Don't forget.
That's true.
Last time I checked, Oklahoma State hasn't even sniffed the college football playoff.
True.
Don't tell me that Oregon's not won anything. Oregon's been, and they're always in the conversation. Now, I'm not saying they've been every year, but they've been.
They've made an appearance. And the issue is not. I don't disagree that Oak State and Oregon are they're pretty similar. Only that the Oregon brand is significantly bigger. Only that when you look at success, they've been to the playoff. They are at the top of their conference every single year. And my guess is they'll be at the top of the Big Ten every single year. You have one of the best, young, brightest coaches at Oregon.
Yeah. What happens if they win the Big Ten in year one? Then what? Like,
Lloyd Carr's going to get fired at Ohio State.
Wow. Yeah.
You know. Speaking of Oregon, did anyone see Bo Nix's pro day? Impressive.
Yeah.
Well, you better be impressive at your pro day. I would think.
He was good enough at the combine to get the job done. No question about it.
He was not elite at the combine.
Yeah.
He was not Free Harbaugh threw better. I think Free Harbaugh had a far better performance, and his performance was good, not great.
I think the thing that's also interesting about Oregon, whether we're talking about the playoff or we're talking about guys like Bo Nix at the combine, you very much get a split reaction. So Oregon's a love-hate thing. You either love Oregon or you hate Oregon. And Bo Nix had, in my opinion, a pretty average performance at the combine, but he did well enough to secure, obviously, getting drafted and getting done what he needed to get done. But you got people out here saying that Bo Nix was like an amazing performance at the combine, to which I say that's the power of Oregon. You have a sect of Oregon coverage that is just, man, we're the best. Everything's awesome. They're not the best, and not everything is awesome, but they're in the conversation every single year. And I assure you, they will be in the college football playoff this year in the expanded format. They will be. I have no doubt.
Yeah, and I think you look at the history of Oregon football, and think about the coaches that they have had. You think about guys like Chip Kelly. You think about like Mark Helfrich having the run that he had at Oregon. You think about Dan Lanning picking up the pieces from Mario Cristobal and Willie Taggart.
Willie Taggart, man.
Dan Lanning's had a really good run through his short time. There's no doubt. But he's 22-5. Who are you hiring, Mike Gundy or Dan Lanning?
Yeah.
It's not even a conversation.
And I do think you can make a strong case the Pac-12 is a better football conference, or was, than the Big 12.
Oak State, James. Compare Oak State with Nebraska, A&M, and Missouri over the last 20 years, which is exactly who they belong in the conversation with.
Yeah.
They don't belong in the conversation with Texas. Don't belong in the conversation with OU. Don't belong in the conversation with the other OU. U of O.
Yeah.
Oregon and stuff. They don't belong in the conversation with Utah. They don't. I don't disagree with that. The Cowboys are far better, but are you trying to be better than fucking Nebraska, James? Are you trying to be better than Nebraska? Are you trying to be better than Texas A&M? Are you trying to be better than Missouri? And Missouri, I would remind you, was a better football team than you were this year. Who are we measuring? Who are we measuring ourselves against? That is a wild statement, and you paid us $5 to make it. You're really trying to keep company with Nebraska, A&M, and Missouri. Congratulations on being mediocre and exactly proving our point. Tennessee tried to get Gundy and failed.
Doesn't matter who tried to get Gundy, bro. It all that matters. See, you're getting this mixed up. You're getting this confused, and maybe that's because you're a supporter of Oklahoma State, but let's not be confused. Man. Winning is all that matters. It doesn't matter who tried to necessarily, court your head coach. The only reason we brought up that Bama wanted Dan Lanning is because we were simply saying Oregon is an elite football program with an elite head coach. And yes, they have things they still need to get done. They still need to get into the college football playoff, and they still need to do some things in recent times, like in modern day. But ultimately, Oregon, there's no denying, is a better program. You can't get away from that. And I have to agree, it shocks me that you are like, yeah, man, we're better than Nebraska. Okay, your mom's better than Nebraska. Like, what are we talking about, dude? Like,
what, did you forget to include Baylor in this conversation?
Bro,
who you're better than?
Yeah, like who are you legitimately? Like, if I'm thinking about Oklahoma State and comparing them to someone, I would think that you would be trying to make the case that you're better than TCU right now, who is, 2 years removed now from what they did. Or like, someone who isn't always in the playoff, but has had recent success, and you're trying to level up with them. That's what you should be doing. You shouldn't be bringing up Nebraska, bro. Like, come on.
No.
By the way, I'm still waiting for stadium talk. Like that.
Yeah. Are you going to compare?
Like, play your character, bro.
Yeah. You just said Gundy is a good coach, not a lead. I'm okay with that. Okay. UW fan Jim, the more teams in the playoff, the teams that meet your definition of relevance, I feel like your bar is a little high, but I can see it. It's not my bar. It's not my bar. The bar is Greg Sankey.
Yeah, I mean, it's the bar that's been set in college football. I mean, again, there's a reason the 4-team format works so well, because it's only 4 teams, and leading up to it, right, with the final selection with the college football playoff, what would we do? Hey, man, you've got the top 7 teams now are really the only ones in the conversation for getting into the college football playoff. So again, if you can't even win your conference, what are we really even talking about? And that's why I keep going back to that game, because again, you told us, and let's not forget, with all due respect, James, what'd you tell us? Ollie Gordon's going to run all over Texas. Bowman and everybody's going to have a huge game. And what did Texas do? Texas went out and did what Texas does best, and that suffocates you on defense and then give it to guys like Xavier Worthy, who are the fastest man on the planet, in my opinion, running your ass down the field. So, again, it's just the point is Texas leaving the Big 12 hurts the Big 12 massively. Texas being a mediocre-ass football program, except for 1 year, hurts the Big 12 massively because now we're sitting here trying to justify Mike Gundy, the pinnacle of mediocrity in college football. He's a bowl game, wizard. He gets to a great bowl game every year. But what does he not get to? The college football playoff. So let's not sit here and pretend that you guys are like a top tier program, because you're not.
I would like to understand what you guys think elite means, because I think Alabama has been elite. Georgia's been elite. Ohio State's been elite. You look at USC under Lincoln before the Pete Carroll USC. Texas under Mac Brown.
Yeah.
Those are elite programs. And I know they're rare, but they're elite because they're very rare.
Yeah.
That's what makes them elite. Right? Is Jed Fish going to continue and grow the brand at Washington? I don't know. I think it's going to be tough in that conference. He's a pretty good recruiter, really good developer of talent. I think he's got a shot. Is Dan Lanning? Dan Lanning's a very interesting case. If Dan Lanning doesn't win a conference championship and go to the college football playoff, he's going to be a disappointment. Says he has unfinished business at Oregon. I would just like to understand what elite is.
Yeah.
Harry Austin, not saying Gundy is great, but Oak State is a better program than you're giving them credit for. I think they're okay. They're certainly not elite.
Yeah, I'm being serious, Harry. What are we not giving them credit for? Like what? Because all we've said is, hey, you haven't been in the college football playoff. You didn't find a way to beat Texas. You definitely didn't want to play Oklahoma every single year. And yeah, you were in the conference championship game and you go to a bowl.
You're good. You're not great.
Yeah.
Again, and this conversation centers around, does the Big 12 have a power football brand? I think it's Utah. I think it is Utah. OG Gary, a member for 12 months.
Oh, let me pull it out for you, Gary. You ready?
Jizzy said that, quote, Utah barely beat Baylor. Bro, Utah didn't have, I think their Powder Puff team played against Baylor.
Did we just wake up in ready to fight mode today?
What do you mean Utah barely beat Baylor?
Utah beat Baylor with a running back at quarterback, bro. What do you mean, dude?
And is getting hosed for it. Dumbass either forgot or is electing to forget that Utah played its BC team against Baylor.
Yeah. And still won the game.
What is it? Maybe we just... I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. It's fine. Caleb. Oak State got hosed in 2011.
Okay, here we go. Hold on.
That's my only regret over the last 10 to 15 years. I feel like the trajectory of the program could have changed a lot. Well, 2011 was the 12-1 Fiesta Bowl year. And sure, I think they were number 2 or 3, right? Like, I think that's what you had a great year there. 12-1, and then what wasn't it 2021? 22 where they went 12-2? 2021 and went to the Fiesta Bowl. And you were 5th in the college football playoff. Those are the 2 years you can hang on to. I don't know if they got hosed in 2011. I mean, were they very good? They were very good. But very good is not good enough, right? I think that's the hard part. And this is the infamous, isn't that the Brandon Whedon team that Oak State James was going on about?
Monty, do you remember Brandon Whedon? He was absolutely elite. I remember eating a hot dog in the stadium watching him.
Yeah.
It was awesome. It was a cheese dog and it had sausage on it and everything. It was great.
Got to have backs on the seats at the stadium.
By the way, Monty, do you want to a ride in the helicopter so we can review the stadium's building designs?
Yeah. Yeah. Lil Jizzy, all this because I said Utah barely beat Baylor. Yeah, that's one of the dumbest things that's ever been said in this comment section. So, yeah, I would agree. That's
congratulations.
Congratulations. Tanner, I think it goes without saying, James, that winning 8 games in the SEC is better than winning 8 games in the Big 12.
Wow, that's
certainly.
facts.
Certainly.
Yeah, that's facts.
There's no doubt about that. It's fair. Not saying SMU is going anywhere, but they clearly have deep pockets. Kids are cashing checks, are chasing cash instead of development. Well, that's true. Tom Dean, I think elite and relevant are 2 different standards. Elite is Alabama, Ohio State. Relevant is top 25. Man, that's a lot of relevance.
I don't think relevance top 25. I disagree. I think relevance top 15. I think you need to be a threat to make the college football playoff, because if you're a top 15 team and, the first week that the college football playoff puts out its rankings, you're relevant. You're in the conversation. You got time. You got to go out and, continue to win all your games, but you could be there. So,
and now you need to be top 12. You need to be ranked in the top 12.
So now maybe with the expanded format, okay, sure, top 25, maybe irrelevant. But I still maintain you've got a 12-team playoff, and then you've got 6 or 7 teams on the outside looking in. That cut is relevant, in my opinion. Those are the folks that are relevant.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You don't you do understand that in the last 10 matchup, Oak State has 6 wins versus Texas, so they did beat Texas. Sure. Yeah, great. Texas has been terrible. Awful. Not good.
My point with that, dude. See, this is my problem. You guys want to sit here and say, oh, well, they beat a terrible Texas team 6 times. Okay, cool. And then you got your ass beat when it mattered most.
But why is Texas relevant?
Like, my God.
This is the thing also that I think talks about how big the brand of Texas is. Why is Texas relevant? Because they've been terrible for so long. Max Strong was it? Tom Herman. They're relevant because they haven't won. And now they've won. They're even more relevant.
Yeah.
And you're relevant when teams are excited to play you and beat you. And they celebrate like they won the Super Bowl when they beat you. I think that makes you relevant. I don't think you're wrong, Harry. I don't think you're wrong at all.
Yeah.
West Virginia Walrus. Oklahoma State is mids, and it's okay. It is okay. Sean Rollins, I can't remember 2011. I can't either because I'm old. Different. 08, 13, and 14 were great chances for Missouri to take steps towards becoming elite, but as usual, fell short. I would agree.
But my point is, for you, Dakota, are you not sitting there saying, okay, even if we're not relevant, we're still making bread, right? Like, you'd rather sit in the bottom of the SEC than, be at the top of the Big 12.
And Missouri is capable of competing.
Right.
Very capable of competing. Oliver Crooms. Good coaches win championships, not money. Rutgers, Minnesota, Vanderbilt ain't winning, and they have plenty of money. Big 12 and ACC have a reason to win, proud and more money. Yeah, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that. I think you're exactly right. Oak State James for $5. Thank you, James. Oak State has 20 of 22 starters coming back. Utah is the best team, but we will see on week 4. I predict Utah and Oak State rematch in the Big 12 championship game. 2 words, Alan Bowman. You are so glad his parents had sex. I mean, Alan Bowman's back. What more do we need?
Macaque.
I mean, Ollie Gordon. I mean, goddamn. Ollie Gordon.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, national championship.
Yeah.
You're beating Oklahoma. Never mind. What's going to happen? Yeah, I agree. I think you're right. Here's my question. Why do you say USC is elite? When was the last time they were elite? 2008. I think when you look at their ability to make money, their ability to recruit, their access to big games, their destination job, you got how many shocking moves did they make in the last 18 months?
Yeah.
Going to the Big Ten, hiring Lincoln Riley, Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback.
Not to mention their facilities.
I think that they are under Lincoln. He is building that program. I think they are elite. And again, I get proven wrong every year when Caleb Williams is being swallowed by his parents crying his eyes out. I get proven wrong every year.
Was it the nail polish?
Every single year. Lil Jizzy, does Utah get a pass for losing to Northwestern too? Probably their D team that day. Okay. Should go back to bed. I'm going to have to make more popcorn. You probably are. You probably are. Tom Dean is exactly right. Top 25 is relevant. That means you're better than 80% of college football. So that's the bar. That's the bar, just to be better than 80% of college football. Not to win the national championship. Okay. I guess I just look at it differently. Tanner, I feel like if you at least make a New Year's Six bowl consistently, you can be considered relevant.
Agreed.
Totally agree.
Agreed.
Agree with that. Does a team that shits the bed in bowl games relevant? Not playoff games. Bowl games. The problem is bowl games, and I know we don't say this. We don't talk about these things at parties. Is your run-of-the-mill bowl game relevant? Does anyone care? When your best players are preparing for the draft on game day by not going to the bowl game? New Year's Six, yes, you got to win. College football playoff, yes, you got to win. What is the biggest knock on Utah? Can't win the Rose Bowl. Multiple opportunities, didn't win the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, that's important that you win those games. The Pool and Weed Eater Bowl,
no.
Your mom's hand sewn thong bowl? Yeah, probably not. Probably not. Probably not. Texas is relevant because they have a fantastic stadium.
Money.
Great facilities and a great coach. But I thought Texas wasn't back. Texas is relevant because they went to the college football playoff. Texas is relevant because they recruit the best talent. Texas is relevant because they're in the SEC. Now they have to win to stay there.
Yeah.
Because Lane Kiffin's a great coach, and I love my guy, but he doesn't win. Brian Kelly has got to win. Why is he not still a legendary head coach at Notre Dame? He didn't win. You got to win. It's great that you're at Texas, Sark, but you got to win. It's great, Kalen, but you got to win. It's great that he's raving about Jalen Milroe and how elite Jalen Milroe is. Show me, don't tell me.
Yeah.
Go win.
Yeah.
Go win. Ooh, a little fired up this morning. Sean Rollins gifts 1 Monty Show membership.
Okay, Sean. Sorry. I was deep in the drops, bro. I was on page 20.
The Buffalo Hunter, a member of the show for 10 months.
Okay.
Witt and AARP Rising will bag slap the Big 12. AARP Rising.
Oh, my God, dude. Bro, this year's Holy War, by the way, is going to be crazy.
Shut up, Jake. Jimmy Otson, if Oklahoma State is a definition of relevance, the Big 12 is in trouble.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Thank you. Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you for bringing a logical comment.
Thank you. Compare Arizona versus OU.
There we go.
Oh, they played in the Alamo Bowl last year and the Wildcats won.
Dude.
Like,
how are we this bad
right now? What do I even say to that?
Like,
what kind of jackassery are you guys on today? The Alamo Bowl.
Oh, hey, Monty.
Jackass. What do I even say to that? Hey, playa, Utah is elite.
Here we go. Oh, yeah, Victor's the way on the football field. Hey, Monty.
Victor's the way.
Now, look, if Victor Wembanyama would have been a quarterback, Cam Rising would have never been at Utah. Because even Joseph Smith knows that Victor Wembanyama is Jesus Christ.
In God's name, image, and likeness.
And Moses.
together
in one package.
God bless.
Which is what your mom was in awe of.
Yeah.
Okay. Do I read a Ferris Khan comment?
Dude, we've been really good about not reading his comments. Okay, let's give him one shot. It's been a few days. It's been since like last Wednesday.
Because we're not once they don't fire Juwan Howard, we're not going to be able to read. We're not going to be able to read Ferris Khan comments anymore because he's going to come in here.
Oh, Monty, that Michigan video yesterday was all clickbait, total BS.
He's going to come in here and defend Juwan Howard, which then I can't read your comments. No bowls matter. Well, the toilet bowl. In today's world, making the playoff equals you are relevant. That is all. Well, even if you have to cheat to get there. I mean,
dude,
Good to see you, Ferris. Mike Smith. Well, Monty, I was talking about Utah shitting the bed in those bowl games. That they did. Let's see. OG Gary, you done messed up with Ron when I have to go full boss for hog on you. Ron Nolan, elite equals superior, relevant equals significant.
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's too early to do math. Tom Dean gifts a Monty Show members. Gifted one Monty Show.
Okay.
Tanner Plummer, Texas going back to the college football playoff in year one of the SEC. Probably.
Yeah, probably.
They're wildly deep. Like, I mean, my God. Nope. AARP rising. Hysterical. James, Sark is a better coach than Kalen DeBoer. And Mike Gundy. Texas will be fine in the SEC.
Uh-huh.
Sark or Mike Gundy?
Sark.
You decide.
Nick Saban is a better man than you are.
Mike Smith, I guess it's Red Ass Thursday.
Apparently.
Tanner Plummer, it's Red Ass every day on the Monty program,
hey, Monty.
apparently. Dakota, the SEC transition for OU is going to be a tough one, me thinks. Me too. Me thinks too. Sometimes. Nothing brings out idiotic logic more than irrational fandom.
Hey.
100%. Hundo P.
Cubs
yes,
are winning
Hundo
it all
P.
this year, dude.
Cubs are winning it all. I mean, I'm telling you, Marcus Freeman, he is coaching without socks this year just to check in goal line situation. This little piggy went to the left end. That little piggy went right. Utah is elite. Arizona is good. Colorado and Arizona State are getting better. The Big 12 will be just fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's the big brand? Who's the behemoth? Who is the
light.
Every year surefire going to the college football playoff?
I kind of feel like that's going to be Utah. Like they just weren't that team in the Pac-12 because the Pac-12 was so deep, but the Big 12 is not that deep.
Does Oklahoma State make the college football playoff this year?
No.
You don't think so?
No. I think they'll have they'll take a step back this year, I think. Yeah.
Well, it's Ollie Gordon though.
Yeah.
And how many programs wanted to pay Ollie Gordon to get into the
Dangerous
portal.
misinformation.
I mean, I have sources.
Yeah, I mean, Ollie Gordon did more walking than the players did walking out of the program this year.
Oak State James has told me he has sources.
No.
Ollie Gordon was being lured away by many a program, but Ollie Gordon enjoys his time. It's almost like when you take a brush and you brush your cat and you get all that hair in the brush. That's what Ollie Gordon gets, that zen-like moment when he combs the mullet after practice, runs his hand through Mike Gundy's hair. It's gravitational.
Stay hard.
Dakota, Victor Wembanyama coming was foretold on a set of golden plates.
Sure.
Coming on plates. Old Greg, sponsor a new bowl game, Jagoff Bowl by Monty and Jake Two Holes, titled Who Gives a Flying F? Live on ESPN Ocho.
Yeah, let's go to the Ocho for who gives an F on the Monty Bowl.
Big Daddy Magic. Hey, playa. Victor Wood kicker. Could you imagine Victor, the greatest quarterback in the NFL history? Josh Allen on the same team.
Oh man, wow.
So wait, is Victor Wood kicker? So he'd be a kicker.
Which is different than Dicker the kicker.
Right.
That's different.
Yeah. Mike Smith, Texas almost always has had the talent. It's just getting a coach to use it correctly. That is true. If Utah is that team, have to be honest, kind of scary since they do not do well after regular season is done. I wish Kyle Whittingham would prioritize having a top quarterback wide receiver combo in the country.
Yeah.
And he would tell you, of course, that AARP Rising, so good, and Brant Keithy are that. And I'm not even saying I disagree with that. But until Utah has a consistently dominant offense, I think there are going to be struggles. Because the defense in this conference, they're going to grind you out. Matt Campbell's going to grind you out.
Yeah.
Right? The Buffalo Hunter, Witt versus Gundy in a boxing match. Who you got? Oh, the Cavs of Kyle Whittingham.
Yeah.
Nothing to talk about.
Yeah, Buddy's going to roll in on his Harley and kick his ass.
Arizona minus 247 million equals no football. Truth.
Damn.
I bet one Cougar tail donut that Oak State will make the 12-team playoff. Look, listen, we're relevant. We're better than 80% of teams in college football.
Yeah, so does that mean you think you're getting an at-large bid? Because you're damn sure not winning your conference. My bad.
Asking for a friend. At large, or do you win the conference? It's a question. Brandon Butler, a member for 14 months. Try to stay with me. The SEC and the Big Ten are about to have similar problems to the Pac-12. They're going to cannibalize themselves. Elite is about to get redefined in a new era. Well, there's some truth to that. There is some truth to that. Jake Retzloff coming up in 12 minutes. How can you say Oak State will take a step back when their entire O-line is returning and the best running back, Ollie Gordon?
He's not, dude.
I thought you said Taj Brooks played at Texas Tech.
Dude, he's not even the best back in the damn conference, let alone the country.
I'm so confused. Here I thought that I'm, Ollie Gordon had the most rushing yards last year. But I look at, Taj Brooks at Texas Tech without a quarterback most of the year. So I'm just asking for a friend. Is Alan Bowman a good quarterback? Monty, let me tell you, he's no Brandon Whedon. But listen, I can't. I can't. The Buffalo Hunter, AARP Rising is my trademark. Love it. Love it. James says at large. Okay. OG Gary, the Buffalo Hunter, change your name to that. You should. Okay. Oliver Crooms.
Here we go.
Please stop it. And then he goes,
all caps.
All caps.
Yeah.
Utah will not dominate the conference, you fucking prick. Big 12 will be just fine. This is a new Big 12. Has only been around for like 2 seconds. You fucking prick.
It's just projecting method acting.
Okay. But hey, you read the whole comment. See? Read the whole comment.
James probably also thinks that Okie Light would have beaten LSU in 2011. Listen,
Certainly.
Mike, have you seen the hot dogs at Oklahoma State? Now, they're different now than they were in 2011.
The cack.
They used to have this radiant green relish that you could get. And then T-Boone was like, fuck this shit. I want onions, chopped and fresh. Who are we, Costco?
I want it.
UW fan Jim. How can you say Sark is better than DeBoer? Texas lost to Oklahoma and UW. Both games, they were heavily favored, and the play calling hurt them. Different show. Mike Smith, all caps, chat room championship MVP.
All caps. It's all caps in the chat room. It's all caps. We yell and scream in all caps. Jagoffs.
I love the all caps logic. Well, if I put it in all caps, Monty's going to read it quicker.
He'll see it.
Yeah.
He'll see it. Trigger Monty. Let's see. Caleb. No Oklahoma State fan with a pulse wants Bowman as the starter. Listen,
Mine.
Alan Bowman, he puts cologne on his jockstrap, and it has a multi-tiered effect. Once you get that wafting aroma of the butthole and the cologne together, it's very difficult not to hand the ball off to Ollie Gordon, who's going to run away from that. He's going to run away from that wafting odor just like he stole it. Explains a lot. Doak Walker, bitches.
Catch me outside. How about that?
Chad Carter.
I love lamp.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
I showed that clip from the movie to my guy over here, just dying laughing. That's one of the best scenes ever.
I didn't think it was funny. Tom Dean, I lived in Oklahoma several years ago. Oak State has a serious little brother mental attitude.
Was it the steer?
Was it the steer? You tried to blame it on Texas, and then it turned out it was another fraternity that murdered a perfectly good animal and dumped it on the field. Okay. Real scripture passage from the golden plates of the white salamander. And it came to pass that Victor Wemby Mobamba went back to the mothership with E.T. and Taylor Swift, and all was freaky. There endeth the lesson.
Hey, man.
They're streaming Taylor Swift's Eras Tour on Disney Plus tonight.
Man, that's wow, dude.
Stop typing in all caps. Stop it. Stop it. Caps lock is cruise control for cool. Delaric says the caps lock is stuck. Tom Dean, all caps Thursday.
Yeah. All caps, no cattle.
Maury Alvarez, our great Floridian, love this show. Tanner says it's a wee fence.
Yeah.
That's what I love about this show.
It's a wee fence.
It's a wee fence.
Yeah.
It's delusional and amazing all at once, right? It's a delusional thing. Jake Retzloff coming up here in about 10 minutes. Thanks to our friends at Big O Tires and American Fork. Can't say enough about the guys at Big O Tire. Again, I tell you every single day, your total car care experts, no matter what you guys need. Big O Tires and American Fork, fantastic. Always good service, always good people. Obviously, Big O Tires is the best brand in tires, but you guys, they do so much more than tires. Whether it is alignments, whether it is lift kits, tint, oil changes, brakes, transmissions, you name it. You got an issue with your car, diagnose that check engine light that you've been ignoring for the last 6 weeks at Big O Tires and American Fork. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Whoa, bro. Anyway, if you're just tuning in this morning, Chad Carter says, Jake Retzloff, how do you feel about caps lock? Don't you hate when somebody texts you in caps lock? I do.
Yeah.
If you're just tuning in this morning, the latest headlines out of college football. Certainly the title of our show, I think, it's a really interesting conversation about the negative impact Texas ultimately had on the Big 12. And I think when you look at Texas and the fact that they just did not win for a long stretch, conference championships, college football postseason, Texas, I think now, it is undeniable, did significant damage to the Big 12. I don't know that you ever recover from it. And I agree that if you look at the brands that left this conference, has any brand left the Big 12 and thrived? Not yet. I don't think so. If you look at Nebraska, certainly not. A&M, certainly not. Missouri, I think, finally found some footing. But you look at the old Big 12, and you just realize this conference could have been something special. I think that is one of the best points we've made on this show.
Absolutely.
The revenue distribution in college football will be finalized this week, according to Ross Dellinger at Yahoo Sports. There will be meetings over today and tomorrow, and the voting will happen, and they will finalize that deal. I think that is a big deal. Also, we've been told that the SEC and the Big Ten will not get automatic buys, which I don't think the Big Ten and the SEC ever thought that they were getting automatic buys. I think it was that chip you throw out there knowing that nobody's going to say yes, just so you can say, well, we compromised, Monty. We did everything we could do to keep. No, you didn't. You knew you were never getting those buys. This is very simply, we compromised, and even though we didn't get those bye weeks, they still got
My bad.
60 plus.
That was a mistake. Sorry.
You making them? I can't believe.
Yeah, I know. Sorry.
The SEC and the Big Ten getting 60+% of the revenue, and I'm interested to see where Notre Dame falls, because there is some belief that they could be above 1%. If they're between 2 and 5%, my God,
That's a lot of money, bro.
And that's not even their TV deal.
Yeah,
that would be wild.
Yeah.
That would be wild. And then there is Jake Retzloff, who is, I'm sure, getting ready for another 10 a.m. tip-off with BYU basketball. Your boys balled out yesterday. That was an entertaining. Were you able to watch any of that game?
Yeah, I watched most of I didn't get to catch the end of it, but I watched most of the beginning and stuff like that. We were kicking butt in the first half, then we let them play with us in the second half too much, but then obviously we came out with the win. So that's good. I got a lot of faith in those guys. Watching those guys in person in the Marriott, it's so fun. So, like, they got something in them.
Yeah, they need to hit threes. When that ball, you saw that early and you saw it late. When the three ball's going down for BYU, they are very difficult. BYU and Texas Tech coming up at 10:30. Jake, again, presented by Big O Tires and American Fork. How was your week of spring ball? And I saw that everybody was asking you, Jake, hey, Jake, are you winning the job? Are you the starting quarterback? No, I would never do that, Jake. I just would simply say, how's the quarterback competition going, Jake?
It's fun. It's easy to compete with a guy like Gary. He's just a great dude. And so it's been a lot of fun. Me and him have a lot of fun together, just outside of football and stuff like that. And so, he's a guy who's like easier to compete against because he's not some guy you actually don't like. It's actually a dude who's actually a good dude and stuff like that. So it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun to get out there with the guys and just play ball. That's what I've been waiting to do for 2 months of the off season that was just sitting around bored waiting to do it. And so now I get to do it. So it's exciting.
Yeah, and I think it is when you've prepared and you're coming off of the season you've had last year that I think you've talked about every week on this show, but how rewarding is rewarding the word? Because it seems like you really are soaking this in. It seems like you are really having fun playing football.
I just love ball. I just love football. It's just what it comes down to. Not everybody does, but I do. There's no doubt about it. So, yeah, it's easy for me to soak it in now and just get to appreciate everything. And what's nice is my body doesn't hurt as much as everybody else's because I'm in a green jersey and they can't touch me. So, versus everybody else is headbanging into each other. So, yeah, I appreciate that, and there's no doubt. So, it's a blessing to be able to do it every day. So I'm just super appreciative of that. And so, like you said, I'm happy to be doing it every day.
What is your level of confidence in the way that you're playing right now? Because we've seen the reports. I've talked to people who have been watching you guys every day, and it seems like you're getting pretty high marks. What is your feedback like from A-Rod? How do you feel like you're performing right now?
I'm performing really well. I think it's a huge step to take a second step in this offense. When you first come in with the offense, you got to learn it all. Got to start playing in it. I was trying to explain it to somebody the other day. It's like when you first come in, you're just trying to navigate the offense. You're just trying to play within the offense. And then now in this second year, I get to be me in this offense. And so that confidence has definitely shot up. And like I get to play my game within this offense. And so it's just a whole different ball game. I just feel super confident in my abilities and what I'm doing right now. So I'm just, like I said, I'm happy to be out there. It's so fun. I feel like I'm playing at another level this year than I was last year. And it's showing in practice right now. And so, yeah, it's just like the jump from year one to year two is a big jump for me. So I'm happy to be at year two.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt that second year familiarity, obviously, when we're talking about competing for jobs, I mean, familiarity is a big part of that. Talk about live reps a little bit because Kalani talked about that significantly. And I agree with him. I think you have to get after it. You have to have guys. Football is such a different domain, right? Like, I mean, you have to win physical battles, 100, 200 times a game. Like, how has it been in practice? How has it been seeing 99% of your guys going live. Obviously, again, you're in the green jersey, but how has that been, and how have the guys reacted to the level of physicality we've seen in your practices?
It's good. I mean, we're playing more physical, especially offensively. We're playing more physical than we did at all last year, and we're coming with that physicality, that energy. It's a natural energy. It's not a forced energy, which is a big deal. Kind of hard to explain, but the physicality in live days is something different, and offense takes that to heart, because when it's not live, the defense just tags you off and says, "Oh, I tackled you right there." But when it is live, it's like, "All right, now let me run through you and show you that you don't make that tackle to me." You know what I mean? So our guys are just, like I said, showing a level of physicality that I haven't seen out of them, and it's so fun to watch, and it makes my life easier when I get to dump off the check down who looks like in a normal practice that he's only going to get 2 or 3, and he just blows right through a guy and gets 6 or 7. So it's just, everybody's making my job easier, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, and I think there is something to the celebration of those big moments in practice that I think you don't get when you're playing touch football, right? Like when you make a big play, even on you flip the coin on that when a guy makes a big stop or makes a big hit or a big play on defense in those live reps. I think those character building moments, I think those team building moments, I don't think you can get that playing touch football.
No, you can't. I mean, PD yesterday or 2 days ago when we practiced, he had a huge hit on a receiver on just like a jet sweep and around. He made a form tackle. The defense is going crazy, talking trash, and the offense is going crazy because we got 7 yards on the play. And so we're like, yeah, we'll take 7 yards all day. They're like, yeah, you know what I mean? So it's a lot of fun just getting the guys out there competing against each other. Obviously, we match each other's energy. So if one side of the ball is starting to get going with that energy, the other side of the ball, at the minute they make a play that's worthy, they just start going right back at us. So it's a lot of it. The high energy breeds the high competition, which breeds good football.
Yeah. What's the rest of your schedule in spring look like? Like, what's coming up in the next week or so?
What do we do? We're scrimmaging on Saturday, which is a big deal. We got, obviously we practice today. And let's see, we're practice 6 right now. So we got 9 more. So it's exciting. And we're already halfway through. It's kind of crazy. It's just happening fast and just trying to stay on top of it. So yeah, spring ball we got, and then coming up, yeah, it's just practice. But going full pads live scrimmage Saturday is gonna be a lot of fun. We're gonna get after it, and I don't think they'll make me live as much as I want to, but which is probably the smart thing. Don't make me
No,
live.
they're not going to let that happen.
They're not gonna let that happen. They let the other quarterbacks go live, but for the most part, me and Gary are staying with the green jerseys on, which is cool. It's just annoying because, I like to run with the ball, and I break tackles more than people think. And so I was explaining to somebody yesterday, we're just doing our zone read where you guys see me pull the ball plenty of times with the tight end leading for me. And it's like a very gray area read. And he's like, dude, pull that. You run around him and you're following me in the end zone. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I get that. The only issue is right now we're in freaking green jerseys. So if we're in green jerseys, he's going to pretend to touch me. And then all of a sudden I'm down and now the defense is screaming. Instead, I hand it off and the running back can get a couple. It's like those moments that I've definitely shown my capability of doing, against Oklahoma and Oklahoma State. It's hard to do it when you're not live. So
yeah.
Makes me more excited for the season.
Man, hearing you say you only have 9 left.
It's crazy.
It's wild to me. We're already halfway through March. Time just flies. I am amazed by that. So what are you doing off the field? Because again, I was telling Ryan at Big O Tires this. I went and bought a new BMW over the weekend, and who did I have to hear about? Jake Retzloff. I had to hear about Jake Retzloff, because it turns out Wakely's wife works at Murray BMW in finance. And she was telling me, oh, yeah, Jake's great. Jake's awesome. Cody Epps is amazing. We hang out. You are everywhere, man. You are a man about town, aren't you?
Sure. I mean, not as much as you think. That's just Crew's wife. Crew's wife's awesome. Crew's awesome. She's got a good thing going over there at BMW. I'm happy you got to meet her, but yeah, no, I'm just I don't know. Right now, off the field, there's school, and then there's just like hanging out with the guys. It's just,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I'm not. I promise you, I'm not going to BMW yet. Maybe somewhere down the line, I'll be at BMW, but right now, I'm not headed over to BMW. And so, like, I just know his wife from meeting his wife, and she's awesome. Crew's great.
He is
And so
awesome.
that's the fun. It's actually a really funny part about being at BYU. So many guys who are married and either kids on the way or already have kids, and it's a lot of fun to get to meet these wives and these significant others and these fiancés. And I think I'm not even kidding. I think we got like 8 weddings coming up this offseason.
Really?
Like, yeah, it's crazy. We had so many guys who are engaged right now. Like they all just got the bug from each other, I guess. And so now they're all proposing to their wives, and they're all, of course, saying yes. And so it's it's funny. And so what's brutal is like we only have certain times off throughout the year, and so everybody's wedding is going to be like within 2 weekends. So it's like,
how do you pick?
Draw straws. I don't know. Don't. Although, and then the worst part about that is like Hinkley Ropati, who I've become really close with since coming here. Like I missed his wedding because like it was the only time I could go home. So now you're balancing that. You're balancing like, okay, I want to go home, see my family, go hang out back in Southern California, go to the beach, or do I go to my boy's wedding that's this weekend? Instead, it's like I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm gonna have to stay for some weddings.
You're going to the beach. You're going to the beach, dude. How do you not?
Because how do I miss a wedding?
I think
weddings are cool. Who knows? Weddings are, especially like weddings for guys who are in college and stuff. It could be a lot of fun. Now it is BYU. It is. This is the culture thing that coming from Southern California. You usually go to a wedding and you get a lot different setting. So I haven't been to an LDS wedding yet. So the party scene will be a little different at the reception and stuff. So I don't know. I'm interested to see it. So I got to go to one at least. And if it's a lot of fun, then I'll be going to the next couple. But
so you're saying there's not going to be an open bar at all these weddings?
Yeah, where do you come down on dancing at weddings? Are you the guy that likes to dance, or are you the guy that hangs out?
Of course. What am I gonna be, a wallflower? Go hang out on the wall, act cool with the Diet Coke in my hands? No, come on now. I gotta be on the dance floor, dancing away, just having fun.
What are you, a tango and a cha-cha guy? Get out of here! Come on, man. I don't believe you. Do you really dance?
Of course. What do you mean? Do I dance? Who does a dance at a wedding? I feel like that's a. What are you doing over there? Practicing your golf swing? Like, come on. Don't dance for have some fun.
Wait. What is your wife's situation? What is your significant other situation?
Well, I don't have a wife situation or a fiance, so obviously I'm behind.
Wow. Okay. No pressure at BYU. I
gotta figure it out. I'm turning 21 at the end of the month. Man, I'm just old. I gotta get married. Shoot, man, I'm gonna be out of the game if I don't hurry this thing up.
Hey, man. 3 kids by graduation. It's a mandate.
You got to take advantage of being the starting quarterback, bro. Let's go.
You signed the honor code. It says right there, 3 offspring, end of final semester. I guarantee it's in the document. Go back and check. You know what? The funny thing is you saying that about your age. Like, I think people forget you're just turning 21.
Yeah, no, people really don't understand that. I bet you guys are half surprised by me saying that. Like, people are surprised when I say I'm still 20 years old. Like, I played all last year at 20 years old. I'm playing all next year at 21 years old.
Yeah.
And then 20, and I'm out of here before I'm 23 years old out of here.
Yeah. Football ages you, man. I mean, it totally matures you. Before I let you go, what's on the acai bowl ledger this day? Like, are you a coconut shavings guy? Like, tell me the ingredients in the acai bowl.
Well, yeah. So I get it from the school, obviously, like from our nutrition center, and I'm pulling it up right now on my see if they got them available right now.
What if they don't?
Well, so sometimes the issue is like they don't have them available right now at 8 a.m, but they'll have them later. Like they'll get like a shipment of them or something like that. So they don't even have them right now. But sometimes you order on here, they don't look available, and then you walk in and you see 3 acai bowls in the fridge behind them. And you're like, hey, can I get an acai bowl? And they're like, yeah, sure, there you go. Because like sometimes they snub you. You never know. So like right now it's not available, but it'll be available later today. So
I like it.
I'll have to grab it because if it's not, that's not a great way to start the day. But they also have these green smoothies that they get your digestive system going well. Tell you that
so
much.
are you a smoothie guy then?
Yeah, both.
Because I did a 30-day juice fast once.
Oh, geez. My mom did that one time.
Dude, it's tough.
It'll test your
so
it'll
tough.
test your character. Now it'll thin you out, and it was one of the healthiest things ever. Like my colon loved it, but that was one of the most. Dude, that was a joke, Jake. Anyway, the point is that was one of the most difficult things I have ever done. But my wife on the daily makes smoothies. Like she's a huge smoothie fan. I don't hate them, but it's not like I'd rather eat steel cut oats for breakfast.
Of course.
That's how I roll.
Yeah, smoothies, they go right through you. So that's why you feel like you're cleaner and stuff like that. So like I'll have a smoothie in the morning, and so I'll be like cleaned out by the afternoon. Like by the time practice come, I'm cleaned out. I'm fresh
Nice
as can
and
be.
light.
And so
Light
I'm
on
very
your feet,
light.
right?
Very light. Once you get smoothie in you know, a couple hours later you end up light as can be. So that's why I like the smoothie a lot. And like I tell you what, it doesn't fail ever.
Ever.
No, I used to think it was the
timing of that
soluble.
smoothie is important because we can't
Yes.
be doing 2 minute
No.
drill and be like, oh,
Can't be running options.
That's the facts. You have to have that thing early. You can't mess around and have that at 1 o'clock and then you're out in the field an hour, not 2 hours later, but you're in meetings the whole time. Like coach, like, yeah, no, you can't mess around with that. You got to get that thing in and out in a proper amount of time. Cause yeah,
I'm with you.
no, it's yeah. So it's great. It's great to start my morning with, and then you get everything going. And then the next thing, then I'm eating my chicken and rice, and then I'm eating my whatever's left. I had 2 steaks yesterday for lunch.
Let's go.
I don't eat much steak anymore either. God. See, I'm ready to eat. Today I'm ready to. I don't know what it is. It's pie day. It's this 314 day.
It is
right?
pie day. Wow.
It is pie. Yeah. 3.14. Look at me, a math wizard.
I used to know
today's, and I'm just not on the pizza grind right now.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't have pizza a lot, but when I have it, like because I don't have it a lot, it's really good.
I would agree with that. Do you have a go-to pizza? All right, don't be a pepperoni guy, please.
No, I'm not a pepperoni guy. Like what I'm starting to like these days is like a barbecue chicken with pineapple. And I don't know, that's very controversial, but a barbecue chicken with pineapple, that's pretty fire to me.
Yeah.
My man.
Like,
See, we knew we liked you. Even if you're not 21 yet, we knew we liked you.
By the way, can we do a little shameless plug here on the merch, bro? Real quick. Dude, look at this thing. Look at how gas this thing is, dude. Look at that design, dude. Come on.
That's amazing.
Come on. Look at that thing.
Jake sent us some t-shirts.
Bro, go get my guy's shirt, man. This thing is crazy.
Who designed that shirt?
Over at Connect, Jake Brandon, he has a graphic designer. He said, send me some pictures and I'll put something together. So I just picked some pictures out. The first couple he sent me were just not it. I was like, Jake, come on. No, those don't look good. We got to get the right ones. And so ordered them right. And then eventually we got it right. And so that was like our third one. So
you are very much a Ray-Ban aviator, Tom Cruise looking sunglass guy, aren't you?
Oh yeah, no doubt. I love it. I got those from my buddy Aiden back home. And that guy, he's like, dude, I don't even wear these that much. I'm like, I'm taking these then. I'm wearing them every day. If you're not wearing them. So he gave them to me. And so like, yeah, until I get, shout out Ray-Bans, let's get a sponsorship going on over here or something like that. We get some NIL from Ray-Bans. That'd be a pretty sweet deal. But yeah, that's the look. I have a picture up on my Instagram that's got me with the royal hat, the royal and white hat. And I was wearing the royal hat yesterday, and I was like, dude, where are my Ray-Bans at? I almost got it going.
I love it. Love it, dude. Hey, always good to see you. Have a great week of practice. Enjoy your scrimmage Saturday. We'll look forward to hearing about it next week on the show.
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys.
You too, man. There you go. That is our guy, Jake Retzloff, presented by our friends at Big O Tires and American Fork. And I'm telling you, you got to time those smoothies right. If you don't time those smoothies, can you imagine that?
I cannot, dude. I imagine you're in the huddle and you're like, uh-oh, it's coming. It's coming for me.
2 minute drill's going to have to wait 2 minutes.
2 minutes in the porta.
Yeah, seriously. But you know what? I don't think there's any doubt he's the starting quarterback. I would be really, really surprised. I've heard people are raving about his performance. He has had a really good spring.
Yes.
And I think what he talked about right there, the fact that this is year 2 in the offense. He's got a full grasp of that offense now. And
it was interesting this week. A-Rod talked about that A-Rod straight up said in an interview that they, as a staff, undervalued continuity last year.
Yes.
That they just thought that, hey, like we've got a lot of talent. We just need to install the offense, and we really should be able to be in a good spot. And as we all know, it's not that easy. And I think that's
Totally
part
agree.
of as someone who covers BYU but isn't a BYU fan, that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about watching this team take a step forward because I fully expect them to take a step forward. I would expect, even with how tough the schedule is, I would expect like 7, even in a perfect scenario, 8 wins out of them. But 7 should be the bar.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yes, Giggity, wear that shirt proudly. It's amazing.
I'm telling you, that shirt's incredible.
Go get it. Support Jake Retzloff. Get on his Instagram. Just search Jake Retzloff. It comes right up. And there's a link on his Instagram. Follow him on Instagram. There's a link on his Instagram to the merch store so that you can get that t-shirt. It makes a big difference to them. Tanner Plummer, so if Retzloff doesn't win the job, what are you going to do with those shirts? I continue to support him. He's a good dude. What do you mean? Giggity, you aren't a real BYU fan if you don't have that shirt. Totally agree.
Yeah, dude.
Totally agree. Let's see. Mike Smith, real Red Ass Thursday in the chat room makes you hungry.
Dude, I'm with you, bro. I'm hungry today.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Tanner says he's not going to find much game. Giggity. What am I missing?
Yeah, what are we doing?
I need to go a little further back up. Jake going to try and do the chicken dance at an LDS wedding. He's 20 years old.
Wild. He doesn't project as a 20-year-old, bro.
He doesn't. You don't think about their age because football players are so mature. It's a tough game, man. I'm telling you. Soaking gets them ready for wedding night.
Okay.
What's up, big bro?
God damn. Don't smoke. Don't poke. What do you do? Soak and get married. BYU mission statement. Always goes back to soaking on this show. Creeping up on AARP. Exactly. Exactly right. OG Gary, he was not having the colon joke. He was not.
He wasn't here.
He was not.
He wasn't here.
He was not. But that 30-day juice fast was one of the most challenging things I have ever done.
Yeah.
It was incredibly rewarding. But Mrs. Monty and I did it together, and that was not easy. No, Giggity, I don't think the joke went over his head. He just was like, whoa. But then he slowly got into it because he talked about the smoothie going right through you.
Yeah.
Can't be taken in at 1 o'clock. Cannot be taken in at 1 o'clock. Dakota Tubbs, Monty, real talk. Are you able to swallow the reality of Morehead State making the tourney?
I don't understand why this was such a big deal. Dakota's been running this propaganda about some fake school for like 3 days.
Morehead State is not okay. Yes or no? The team down south has another 4-game losing streak. Could be. Sure. Could be. Tanner, Retzloff is probably the most mature 20-year-old in the world. Probably.
Seriously.
Probably. What am I missing? What fake school? Morehead State's a real school.
Okay.
What am I missing?
Yeah, I thought in our members only group yesterday there was a bunch of jokes about certain fake
Texas
schools.
did ruin the Big 12. They suck. Aaron Wilson. Good morning, Aaron. Good to see you, my friend. They are egotistical and push political power in favor to manipulate more and more money. Yes, they do. It is. It's a Russian school. No eye patch. I see a 3-game losing streak coming. Okay.
Yeah.
Kurt P. Morehead State to real school if they're going to make the tourney. Speaking of conspiracy theories, before we get out of here, where is Kate Middleton? And why do we care about this story? Have you guys heard this story? Princess Kate Middleton. She of goddamn Kate, right? Like good looking lady. Hello. Right? Here they are married. Beautiful bride.
Yeah.
Then she goes into hospital on December 28th. Hasn't been seen since. And then the palace put out this picture. Looks like she's having a lovely time in the garden with her children. Only it turns out, and you can't see it, it's heavily photoshopped. And I am of the belief that this is not her actual and their actual outfits. These outfits they're wearing, They've all been photographed in them multiple times. And they did a really dumb thing. The picture of her face, if you look at Kate Middleton's face, it is the exact same photo that she did for Vogue magazine. And I think that it is her cover photo. And I think that they simply took that to create a picture of her, because there's been so many people wondering, hey, yeah, where is Kate Middleton? Because ever since we've seen this surgery she went into the hospital for, she has not been seen, and nobody has been able to confirm her whereabouts. Is she dead? I don't think she's dead. I think that's an overreactionary take. But look at this photo of Vogue. Focus on her face in the picture that's on the screen. Now look at this one. Oh, yeah, that's pretty much the exact same picture. And there's a picture of her son in the sweater there with the green three-tone sweater.
Yeah.
It's actually a burgundy sweater, and there is some poor editing in the fabric, the pattern on his sweater. This is a fake picture. It's a fake picture. There's no doubt about it. But why?
Yeah. So what are people suggesting?
Well, it's more than a suggestion. Her husband here, Prince William, is believed to have had an affair. And there are wild speculations going on in the British media that the young lady that he had an affair with, well, hello there. There she is. She may be with child.
Oh.
And so there may be some, like, I'm just asking, is this woman that he had an affair with attractive? Yes. But are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, at what point is enough enough?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? If this is in fact true that he had an affair, what are we doing?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, obviously there's wide-ranging conspiracy theories, but anytime we start delving into government-esque, cover-up type stuff, I think, that takes the cake. And, you can look at the pictures. I have to say, looking at the pictures of her, the first thing that crosses my mind is, did you really think that you were just going to superimpose her face onto there? Because the thing that stands out is, look at the position of her hair. So her hair there, it looks that way. But then the picture of her in the hat, her hair is kind of pulled back. So because of the hat and because of the hair position, they would have had to sort of just take her face and kind of fit it into the picture properly.
Which is not, for those of you who don't know, all of this photoshopping is not difficult.
Yeah.
If you used Photoshop for any amount of time, and they are, you may not know this, the royal family, like the British royals, they have one of the largest vaults of photographs in the entire world. They are masters of photography and video. They have multiple people who could easily pull this off.
Yeah.
It's not. And the thing is, you look at her face, and it's very, very similar. I mean, and when you superimpose the two over it, it is wild. Like, the smile lines on her face do not change at all. Like, and this is the length the British media goes to. They measured the smile lines on her face, and they measured I almost have trouble saying this.
Yeah.
They measured the distance of her teeth, and it is a perfect match. And then they superimposed the Vogue cover over this picture. It's a perfect match. And they admitted later, they released a statement supposedly from the princess, who said, yes, I photoshopped that picture. There's another picture of her in a car where there's five wheels on a regular car. So there've been some Photoshop mistakes. I don't understand where she is, and I hope she's okay. She had this abdominal surgery. They said she would not be seen in public until Easter.
Yeah.
But they're making these really clear efforts to put her image into the public. Why not just have her appear? Like, there was even this Photoshop of her in a car, riding in a car the other day. And the other issue is, and I think this is pretty amazing. Now, it is the Daily Mail. It's
right.
It is what it is. The Daily Mail had somebody outside of the hospital that she had the surgery in. Her husband visited her one time. And then her kids have never been there. Her family's never been to that hospital. And her husband never came back during the weeks that she was in the hospital. And it's like, why is that?
Yeah.
Like, you're not visiting your mom. You're not visiting with your kids. You're not visiting with your husband. Your parents never came to the hospital.
Surprising. Suspicious.
It's just like, why do we do this to the Royals? I don't get it. That's my biggest question. Why are we as a planet obsessed with the Royals?
Because they got money. They got, history. I think it's that concept of, hey, like, obviously they're powerless, but they still wear the badges. They still wear the names. They still act in a royal fashion, like they still do all of that. And, I think, again, if Great Britain doesn't have Royals, then what do they have?
Yeah. And the thing is, it again goes to this thing where dudes are always cheating on hot women. And I just ask, like, what are you lacking here? What is the issue? She is
smoke show.
She is beautiful.
Yeah.
But in any definition, she is beautiful. Why on earth are you cheating on her? And I don't know. Maybe there's dysfunction, or I don't know. This is not going to pass. This is, until this woman shows her face in public, this is not going to pass.
Yeah.
And I again just wonder, why are we obsessed with them? I don't know. OG Gary, Kate is 10 times better looking than the other lady. The other one looks like Sid the Sloth. L moved by. Wow. And it's not Harry, it's William. This one is William. You'll remember that Harry is married to, I can't remember her name, the girl from Suits.
Oh, Meghan Markle.
Meghan Markle. That's right. He's married to Meghan Markle. They live in Los Angeles.
Man.
Yeah. But look, I mean, this girl is not unattractive, right? But hello.
Yeah.
The bar is very high.
It is.
If you're cheating on Kate Middleton, the bar is incredibly high. I don't know how you would even, I don't know what goes through your mind.
Yeah.
On that. I hope she doesn't get the Princess Diana treatment. Oh, we're long past that. She's getting it. She's getting it right now. She's absolutely getting it. I don't know their names. I know there was a Harry in there somewhere. Yes. And he left the royal family. He lives in Los Angeles now.
Yeah, hopefully she doesn't get processed, but I have a feeling she will.
Yeah. Yeah. Sean says, what famous person doesn't have their photos touched up? Yeah.
Yeah, this is a little more than touched up.
Yeah, but this is faking a picture. What this picture of Princess Kate and her kids in this garden, they completely built this photo. This photo, in most people's opinion, this photo never happened. They took this picture because there is, like, below the elbow of the young lady in the burgundy sweater, there's a terrible Photoshop miss right there. There's some issues with the hands, like one of the questions is, if you look at Kate's hands that are on both sides of her kids, how long are her arms?
Yeah, that crossed my mind. You can see her hands kind of look different too.
There are issues with her fingers. Like, it just was not the best Photoshop ever created.
Yeah.
It really wasn't. I hope she's okay. She had major abdominal surgery. I hope she's okay. That's where I leave it, because I hope she's all right.
Yeah.
It just, Big Daddy Magic. I only acknowledge one royalty, and that's Victor.
Okay, great. Glad we got that out of the way. I mean, I know I'm so shocked,
Victor's the way.
Aaron Wilson, I'll touch you up, Gary. Whoa.
Dude, do you guys need a room, or like, what's the deal?
Wow. Pause, Aaron. That's wild. Exactly. Go on, Aaron. You got me bricked up.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah, dude.
Exactly right.
I'm so bricked up right now.
Wild. The Monty Show is always presented by our friends at The Advocates. theadvocates.com. Thank you to Jake Retzloff and Big O Tires. Thank you, The Advocates. Thank you to everybody who supports this show. Enjoy the Players Championship. Rory is 4 under at the Players already.
Come on, baby.
Let's go, Roars. We need a big one. Don't forget the Advocates have their blood drive coming up next Monday, 1 to 7 in Murray. You can donate blood online, redcrossblood.org. Find a drive and then use the promo code or the sponsor code ADVOCATESSLC. Please donate blood this week with the code ADVOCATESSLC. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.